What's up, listeners, and welcome to the Gift of Gaming podcast. And this week, we've got red versus blue versus green. That's right, Nintendo versus Sony versus Microsoft. We're going to decide who in 2023 has performed the best. What's up? It's me, your host, Darren Wade, batting for the blue corner for Sony. And today I am joined by Craig, the Critical Nolan, Mr. Nintendo himself over there. Craig, how are you?
I'm very good, Darren. Thanks for having me on. I guess I'm Mr. Red then, yeah?
You're red, yeah, you're red. Like you're batting for Nintendo. And also joining me today is, of course, none other than Mr. Xbox Games Pass himself. Who else would I have batting for the green corner? And Microsoft, Luke Maycock. How are you?
Oh yeah, that is my name. I'm Mr. Game Pass. I wonder what that is. Let's go Xbox!
Oh, it's going to be fun. I can't wait to hear what Luke has to say about Games Pass. But before we get into all that and get into the arguments, how are you gentlemen doing? You guys been playing any interesting games lately, or we all just stuck trying to finish whatever the fuck we're playing right now?
It's just the usual kind of rounds. I've been doing some Party Animals is my go-to, chill, spam a few games, throw some animals around kind of thing. That's super fun. Playing the Miu Mini still a little bit as well. And yeah, I've actually just mostly turned my Xbox into a Blu-ray player over the past while. I've been binging some Doctor Who, which has been great. But yeah, no, mostly just like kind of arcadey little games. Jusant came out either today or yesterday, and I was really excited about that, so I'm really looking forward to launching into that.
I have never even heard of this game. What was it called?
It was at the last Xbox showcase. It's called I think it's pronounced Jusant, Jusant. It's just looks like a really, really chill. It's like you climb mountains and cliff faces.
Oh, I did see this.
Yeah,
it looked incredible, actually.
It looked gorgeous.
Really interesting vibes.
So relaxing looking and everything like that. So that came out just yesterday.
It had very, at least from the imagery that I saw, it had very kind of Studio Ghibli, Laputa kind of vibes.
That's a great description.
About it when I was watching the showcase, and yeah, I could be into that, man. Yeah. I'm assuming that's just an Xbox exclusive, though, right?
I actually don't know if it's an exclusive. It's on Game Pass, so I just press the Game Pass button.
That's all I care about.
That's all I care about.
What about you, Craig? What are you playing these days?
I think it's been a couple of weeks, but I got to the very, very end of Baldur's Gate 3, and then I just stopped because I wasn't ready to like cross that finish line just yet.
Yeah.
But I'm like right at the end. I often get to the final boss of games and then just stop, you know? Like it was the same with Tears of the Kingdom, the same with Baldur's Gate 3. I just don't want it to be over sometimes.
Out the last page
and then I just stop playing. Yeah. It's like, no, now if it's left unfinished, it means like I still have more game to play.
Yeah.
So I got right to the end of that, and then I just switched to Final Fantasy 7 because one of our mates is playing it for the very first time. That was all the motivation I needed to just hop back in and play it again. And I'm about 3/4 through it already within a few days. And
you absolutely minced it. It is so good. I was only saying to you before we started recording, Craig, that I checked my save slots in that game, and the last time I played Remake was 2020, and the last time I played Intergrade, which is the PS5 DLC, was 2021. So I've kind of been settling into the two of them, playing them again now, being like, oh yeah, that is just the right amount of time to leave it before going into it again, and I've gotten sucked in. But apart from that, I've gotten really excited about Tekken 8 brought out a trailer there, and it was like showcasing all the fighters that have been announced for the new game.
Sweet,
and we're still waiting on one more reveal, but I got quite excited about that, so I hit back up Tekken 7, and in the times that I'm not playing Final Fantasy 7 or Baldur's Gate, I'm hitting up a few fights in Tekken just to get dusting the rust and dust off before I get into it.
When those games launch, you've got a better week to be good, otherwise you'll be bad
forever.
Right?
yeah. And especially it looks like this one, like the online that I played when they had those beta tests that I signed up for. I mean, I got minced in most of those fights because I wasn't around for the first week that they did, but the second week, a couple of weeks later, I said, I'll hop onto that. But everyone who was on the first week just like got incredibly good, and they were all champs by the time the second week came along, and I was like, oh man. So I'm hoping I can be a little bit better come Tekken 8, but I'm excited for it,
When's Tekken 8 out?
January 26th.
Nice, okay.
Yeah. So exciting times. It's been a long time since there was a new Tekken game, and this one's been hyped quite well. It hasn't done the kind of, and again, it would never be the same as Smash Brothers, but when we had the reveals of each of the Smash Brothers characters, it was very exciting because we didn't know who it was going to be, and it was always from a different video game franchise. But they've been releasing kind of like bi-weekly or almost monthly
They've
new,
been copying the Smash Brothers formula.
Yeah. Announcing a new character every time, and I've been loving that. Like, getting excited about who's
It's
on.
a great way to do it for fighting games. I love that approach.
It might just be the new way fighting games work after, like, in a post-Smash world. All fighting games do like a champ roster.
I like announcements.
Well, Nintendo have been doing this since 2008 for Brawl, you know.
Yeah. No, it's the way to do it. So I haven't been let down. All of my favorite, like my top 5 characters, have all made the roster. The starting rosters. I don't even have to fucking pay DLC for these guys when because that's what they'll be doing. I'm sure when they'll announce new.
But they haven't announced DLC characters yet, have they?
No,
they'll do that after the game comes out, right?
Yeah. So they've just they've got 32 characters to start off the roster with. My top 5 have made the starting roster, which is great. And I think down the line they'll probably bring back a lot of characters that didn't make the starting roster as DLC. Same thing happened with Tekken 7. Lots of the main characters from the early iterations of the game didn't make the first cut of Tekken 7, which I thought was mad. So they did DLC for those, and I never paid for that, but I'll probably get onto the Tekken 8 buzz and get all my characters. But enough of that, fellas. We have a debate to decide. We have to decide, in our opinion, and our opinion really matters. We're experts in the industry here, so we're going to be able to decide this definitively. We need to figure out who in 2023 performed the best. Was it PlayStation, Sony? Was it Microsoft, Xbox? Or was it Nintendo?
That's true. They are. It is the same name twice.
It's like Mario.
And Luigi Mario.
And Luigi Mario.
Who would like in this debate? Sorry, there's a cat grabbing at my leg here. Who would like to kick off this debate? Start off from which corner of this trifecta, green, blue, or red, wants to hit it up first? Oh, silence. You guys don't seem confident.
Well, no, because in these type of debates, going last gives you an edge. So I'm just kind of like, if I go last, I already I'm halfway to victory.
Recency
if I don't
bias.
say anything,
What company had the biggest news item earliest in the year?
It's a nice way of doing it.
Yeah, but I can't.
Even if I knew the answer, I don't think I'd tell you.
I think the biggest news item, from early on in the year, because we've been following it all year, essentially since the start of the podcast, would have been the Xbox's potential and now confirmed acquisition of Activision. Was kind of very early on this year.
Was that this year?
Yeah, it started at the very beginning of this year.
I think
years ago. I thought it only came into effect this year.
Yeah, it's the acquisition started. Yeah, I think it was either last year or the year before that it started.
Because for a couple of years, like all the games that were going to come out for multiple consoles would still come out for multiple consoles, and it's only this year that they'll start having games for just Xbox, right?
No. So they've only just acquired Activision like last month. They only just confirmed the acquisition because they had to go through all the court cases and stuff because they were held up in lots of different corners. Yeah. They got Bethesda, and they own Bethesda, and the Bethesda games have been confirmed as only Xbox.
Bethesda and Activision are different companies.
There you go.
I just had completely mixed them up. So wait, they own Activision as well.
As of
Activision Blizzard King.
That's right, and they won't be able to get Call of Duty on the single console, right? That has been debunked at this point.
Well, we don't see. This is the thing; it's all up in the air. There's potentially a 10-year agreement in place that means that all consoles will still get Call of Duty, but after that 10-year period, it could be Xbox exclusive. But that wasn't an agreed, signed upon thing, so they could backtrack from that if they wanted to. I guess that was only vocally that they said that wasn't a signed agreement. I don't think.
Yeah, it wasn't. I didn't hear about any actual deal or agreement made in that regard. That doesn't mean that there wasn't, because there was talk of some kind of backroom deals made in order to get Sony to take the heat off the fucking anti.
Yeah, because Sony was hitting up the courts, being like, "No, stop them here."
Okay, so this only happened a month ago, though. So like, no games in 2023 will be affected, right?
No.
So we can kind of much scratch that completely because it has absolutely no relevance currently.
Well, I mean, relevance in terms of.
I mean, if next year we can have the conversation and talk about it like all day long, but right as of this moment, it means nothing, right?
Well, I mean, I would say it means everything because it's changing the landscape entirely of Activision.
I know, but
like you're talking Blizzard.
You're talking about future games as opposed to 2023.
Yeah, true.
True, but I'm sure if we're going to go from business perspective, I'm
just wondering what kind of points I'm going to tally up and give to Luke for this type of Activision acquisition. Typical, we're going to have lots of Game Pass, but still no games have been mentioned. So I'm in my mind, I'm like, this is a big fat zero.
Okay.
And we've wasted a lot of time on it already, and I apologize for that because I asked the question, but this is completely irrelevant to our chat.
Well, look, I hope you don't have that in your debate because apparently it's completely irrelevant.
No, I just have a list of every game on Game Pass in front of me. Actually, that's not true. I tried to put a list of every game on Game Pass in front of me to snap back at Craig's criticism before, but Google Keep Notes has a 20,000 character limit and they wouldn't all fit.
Yeah, but and this is the argument I'll always put to you, Luke. Just because it's got every game doesn't mean they're all good games.
Yeah, but there's a lot of great games.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I guess.
That's so classic Luke to say we have thousands of games and to name drop 0 games.
Okay.
Like
You know,
the last time we had this conversation, you said Game Pass 100 times, and not once did you mention a game, except one, and it was the game that PlayStation also had, which was that crappy game that you repeat constantly every day when you die.
Yeah, so like Deathloop.
That was it, yeah.
Yeah, so we could start with the list of games that are on PS Plus, even though the company is owned by Microsoft and Microsoft have an exclusivity right to it, like Deathloop, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Dishonored 2. We could talk about the games that are game series that are really important to me personally, that I really enjoy, like Halo. Persona's on there. I'm really looking forward to getting into that. The Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Juson came out in the last day. GTA 5 popped up there recently that I'm really excited about. Assassin's Creed Origins, a game I've never played.
Can you talk about a game that isn't 10 years
City
old
Skylines,
and it's something that we haven't played like 50 times
Hi-Fi
already?
Rush, Hard Space Shipbreaker, both came out this year. All the new Hitman games, Party Animals, TMNT, Shredder's Revenge is on there, Vampire Survivors. Those are just the games that came out this year that I loved. I can go into deeper ones like Slay the Spire, Power Wash
Fallout
Simulator.
and Persona came out this year? I don't think so.
No, I jumped to the list of things that came out this year after you made your criticism.
Okay.
And now I'm going back to the full list of things.
This is juicy stuff, fellas.
That are really, really like just my cups of tea down to things like Power Wash Simulator, lots of like indie games. Death's Door sounded really cool. I'm really looking forward to getting into that. The Doom games are on there. Doom games are also on PS Plus, even though I think Microsoft has an exclusivity agreement with id Software. Mm-hmm. Not totally sure about that. Citizen Sleepers, Stardew Valley, which is a game I've never actually sat down and had a go with, but that's popped up on Game Pass there this month, I think.
Great game.
That's about 20 games on the me list, and some of them aren't games. Some of them are franchises with like 4 or 5 games in them. So I could go into the games that came out this month: Thirsty Suitors, Football Manager 2024, Dungeons 4, Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name, the sequel to the really popular Yakuza Like a Dragon spin-off series of the Yakuza series, which looks absolutely hilarious. Has one of the main characters showing up in America. The trailer was hilarious. Wild Hearts, Spirited.
Oh, was that the one where he was covering his balls because he was naked? Yeah. That was a good trailer.
All the Yakuza games as well. Like the list I did of where I tried to put every Game Pass game onto my keep notes and they all wouldn't fit, went down as far as like halfway through the W, which left out the whole Wolfenstein series, the new Wolfenstein series, which is great, and all of the Yakuza games, which are also on PS Plus, even though there seems to be an exclusivity agreement going in the direction of Microsoft. And yeah, man, and sorry, the last one that came out this month is Persona 5 Tactica. I don't know what that is, though.
Oh, that's a really crappy looking strategy Persona game that was just kind of a bit of a money grab by the looks of things.
Yeah.
So just so I know,
like the
is I mean, I hope, I mean, this is entirely up to you to bat for the green corner, but is your entire argument Games Pass for Xbox?
There's some things that some strategy outlining done by Phil Spencer this year that really tickled my fancy and made me really excited for the green corner. Stuff that he was talking about. I guess I'll go into it now. We're on Xbox anyway, so I'll go into it now. I'll go a bit down through the year, kind of in short, as I remember. I haven't written this down. I've just written down Game Pass games. But the year as I remember it did kind of kick off the Activision Blizzard stank over the back of all of the anti-competition, like financial regulators getting involved in the UK, and then there was some in, I think, Australia that was a big thing, and then maybe France at one point, and the US obviously as well. And and Sony were kind of pushing back, making the claim that it was all a big bunch of claims around anti-competition and stuff like that, and it all eventually shook out in Sony's main claim. All the ones resolved themselves, like the US ones resolved themselves. I think all the international ones resolved themselves, except the one in the UK where Sony was fighting the side that Xbox was being uncompetitive or unfairly competitive in a sense because of its cloud gaming platform, which I guess the argument being made was if you got these games exclusive for Xbox and you have this cloud gaming platform in which none of the other companies are competitive in any way, that gives them an unfair edge. But they're making a strange argument saying that, Microsoft, we talked about this lots on the podcast, like Microsoft shouldn't have this edge in cloud gaming, and Microsoft was kind of like, well, you guys can do cloud gaming too.
It was a funny, and I think it was it was their Hail Mary. I think they realized that on their normal argument of like, well, we actually just don't want you to have Activision because we want Call of Duty. I think they realized that wasn't really a goer because they were willing to pay, billions of dollars to have it. So PlayStation was like, cloud gaming, don't do the cloud gaming thing. But as you said, if you're not going to invest in the market yourself, you can't really complain about Microsoft having the biggest share of that, because that's their plan.
Yeah, exactly. It was a weird kind of stinker argument to make, but it's like it's all fair in love and war. Like that was PlayStation's move to make tactically, and I think it allowed them to get certain concessions from Xbox in the end in the form of potentially some backdoor agreement about the exclusivity being left open for franchises like Call of Duty and stuff into the future. I'm trying to. Oh, sorry. This is a Phil Spencer quote that I've pulled up on my phone. I'll come back to that in a sec. But Doug Bowser had a great quote about kind of that whole realm of things, and kind of representing Nintendo's side. He made a statement essentially saying, "I don't care. Nintendo don't care that Xbox are doing this. I've been in my position in the industry for 16 years." And exclusivity is the name of the game. It's the way it's always been. Nothing has changed about this. And there are still so many new indie studios coming out that are changing the game and making titles from small ones to like AAA titles on their own, that this doesn't really shake the basket much for us. So it was just a news story that kept cropping up in the news episodes annoyingly, about the Activision Blizzard merger and like it being delayed and stuff like that. Which isn't to say it isn't a significant item. Like they spent 70 billion.
It was huge money, yeah.
70 billion acquiring ABK. And it kind of just kept cropping up through the year, through that kind of thing. There was the big L that Microsoft took in the form of Redfall, which was Arcane Studios' game. Arcane are one of my favorite game studios. They have a phenomenally talented team. I think it was Arcane Austin, their American studio that worked on Redfall, and it just came out to it just looked awful. I didn't play it myself, but the game, I saw streamers play it and I saw reviews of it, and it just looked awful.
I think the only one you need to watch on that is Donkey's one. Donkey's one on that kind of covers it.
Was that the Gollum game?
No.
Because when you said awful, I was just like,
it was pegged as, because it was one of the, and I guess that's what people got excited about, because it was one of the potential new big exclusives for Xbox. And of course, PlayStation's made its name on exclusive. It's where everyone's saying that maybe Microsoft and Xbox were kind of falling behind, and maybe that's where they were losing some of the races year on year. So everyone pegged it as this great. And look, I saw the trailer for initially, the first announcement trailer, and it looked class, like a team of 4 people. Off you go, vampire hunting. And it looks like it could be scary. Like you go into houses and it could be quite spooky and whoa. But then I watched all the stuff for the game. It was basic. It was lackluster. It was buggy as hell.
So buggy.
What was the first game then? Like you said, you're a big fan of the studio. What did they do before that?
Arcane are the studio that did Deathloop, and they did all the Dishonored games. And they did a Half-Life spin-off, and they did a game for Steven Spielberg a really long time ago. I think they're a spin-off. Are they spin-off of Valve? They might be spin-off of Valve, or they've definitely worked on Valve titles or whatever. Okay, but they just the philosophy that they approach their games with is one that you don't really see a lot, where like games like Dishonored, and especially games like Deathloop, they try to think through every possible way of playing the game, even knowing that you're only going to experience one. And there's just you could play Dishonored 5 times, take 5 different approaches to every single mission, and it can play out in different ways. There's all these like beautiful little hidden things that they just put mountains of work into packing their games with really great content, which was why I was really excited for Redfall. And it looked cool in the trailers, but then it just flopped so hard.
Speaking of, and I'm not saying this is a flop, but I don't think it hit kind of the heights that people were expecting. What was your opinion on, because Redfall was considered maybe not the golden egg for Xbox exclusive this year, but Starfield was considered to be their winning exclusive.
I thought that was going to be the big game of this year.
You played it a little bit, didn't you? Or did you get into it?
Yeah, I played it a little bit. It didn't really capture my imagination. The story stuff kind of bounces me off. If the story is dodgy or a bit forced or something, that can be super disenchanting for me. And that felt like the case with Starfield. Like it was such a MacGuffin-y opening, where you touch a material that makes you see some kind of cosmic plane and get imprinted with this message, and that's all fine. But then because that happens, a guy basically just gives you his ship for free, even though you're like a complete nobody from a mining colony and he has no reason to trust you. He just gives you his ship and then off you go. And it's so... I'm just like in the ship on my own being like, what's going on? How did I get here? What are the stakes?
Like mid to late 90s game, like linear gameplay, being like,
really
here's the magic key, stranger.
And the guy who gives you a ship doesn't even come with you. He's just like, yeah, take my ship. I trust you to go to the place I want you to go to. And then just leaves you. The thing that actually kicked me away from it was like that kind of stuff really annoyed me. The gameplay was quite tight in it. Like the gunplay stuff was like, I think I said this to you guys in private, the gunplay stuff was really good, which is strange for like a Bethesda game. Their Fallout games, apart from VATS. Like,
that was my biggest worry, because when I heard that the actual kind of the gameplay loop wasn't that exciting in terms of the exploration, wasn't what it was built up to be, whatever else, I said, Jesus Christ, because if none of that's working and you've got Fallout level of gunplay in the game, and that's what I could never get into that with the Fallout games. Bethesda games has kind of took me away from that, like lock on to like certain sections of the body parts, and I was like,
and then your accuracy is like 40%, and you're just like, wait, why?
What's the
He's
point?
right in front of me.
But I'm glad that the resounding kind of opinion was that they actually managed that very, very well. The gunplay stuff was very exciting.
They nailed it. It's very satisfying to play that side of it. But by the time I got to the ship and was trying to do any kind of space movement, which I assumed would be such a huge part of the game, it was very unsatisfying. Now, I'm maybe a little bit biased against it because my favorite games are like Outer Wilds, which is just a game based in space and moving in 3D. And then at the time I was playing a different game called Hardspace Shipbreaker, which is a Game Pass, I think it's an Xbox exclusive, where you basically work in a space shipyard, taking in ships and like just disassembling them with the laser cutter, and you have to move around in 3D space and orient your thing, and it's very satisfying control scheme, very simple game. But when Starfield couldn't nail that, and I just played a game that did nail that, it was like, I was kind of like, oh, come on, guys.
A sour taste.
Yeah, definitely left a sour taste. But yeah, so my own opinions, like I didn't get sucked into it, but I have heard like really great opinions of it from some people. A lot of people react to it the way I did, where they're just like, yeah, and they kind of bounce off it or don't enjoy it.
Which is such a pity, because, as much as I'm obviously always and have been for my entire childhood playing video games, I was a Nintendo kid growing up, but then the moment PlayStation was released, I've always been a PlayStation fanboy ever since. But I was really rooting for like the next stage of exclusives to, for another, because like Nintendo has the Marios, the Zeldas, PlayStation has the Final Fantasies, the God of Wars, the Horizons, and I was just like, I'd love to be excited, or to be sat down and said, oh man, maybe I do want to get like a Games Pass membership to play this next, especially because it was a space exploration game, and I'm a big lover of Mass Effect. And it was for me, I just kind of felt sad for Microsoft that they didn't really nail that in the way that everybody, like all the build up, all the hype to that. And it didn't crash as much as Cyberpunk, but it had kind of a bit of a Cyberpunk vibe, where a lot of what was sold to us at the beginning didn't really come to fruition in the way that they were kind of leading us on to believe. The exploration wasn't really true exploration.
I don't think they really falsely sold it in any way. It was just kind of, there might have been like a case of that everyone was kind of expecting everything of this game, like it was going to fulfill every one of their fantasies, and expectations
for that game were rough. Like
they were so high, and what's weird is I don't think it was a failure. Like I don't think it was a resounding like blow. Like not everyone will agree that it was a success, but I don't think everyone will agree that it was a failure either. Like it was a tight game. It is the kind of game that it is, which is what I hear from a lot of people who love it and swear by it. They say exactly that. I get that this isn't everyone's cup of tea, but I am absolutely loving it, and I look forward to going to play it every time. And I go, fair. You know what the game is. Like you get it. There is a weird thing thrown around about there being a 12-hour time sink before the game makes sense, which obviously, like, I don't have time to put that amount of time into a game.
I'm in my 30s. I want to play a game for 12 hours before I decide whether or not it's for me. I should know that. I should know that.
As long as you're enjoying
hour.
Those 12 hours. Not knowing what's going on is fine, so long as it was enjoyable.
But it's like the idea that there's some ramp up during that 12 hours that you will enjoy it, like half a day of your life to get to a point where you enjoy a game. I don't know. Maybe it is worth it. But no, Starfield was kind of middling. I don't think it brought our stock down. I don't think it lifted our stock up.
But it was a cool thing for me, even just watching. It was a cool thing for Microsoft and Xbox to get excited about, like fans to get excited about, because I don't think they've had, like, I mean, everyone was quite pumped for Halo, that new Halo, and that ended up being a bit of a false flag for Microsoft that never got off the ground. But I was excited for Xbox fans with Starfield. I was like, well, there's something to get pumped about, because us as PlayStation, Nintendo fans, the next Zelda is always a massive big deal, and the next the God of War, the next Final Fantasy, whatever it might be, is always a big item for PlayStation. So I was happy, I was thrilled that Xbox fans were finally getting that kind of, here's this one thing that you'll be delighted you have an Xbox for.
I don't know if I totally agree, because like Halo kind of has gotten off the ground, and it had, like, Halo's player base is the largest it's been since a month after it came out. Like, Halo Infinite has quality of life.
The largest it's been doesn't mean it's large, though. That's the thing. Do you know what I mean? Because it was so poorly received at the beginning that I know what you're saying. It has. Oh, but
Halo was not poorly received in the beginning.
Oh, it was poorly received.
No, it wasn't. Completely disagree.
You're talking about Halo 1?
Halo Infinite.
Like the newest one, okay. the most recent one.
Yeah.
But the multiplayer, people thought the campaign was lackluster. The multiplayer didn't have enough map variation or gameplay variation. People had to wait a long time before that was actually solved.
Maybe I'm totally out of touch with that, but that is not my estimation of things at all.
But when did the Halo Infinite come out?
This was 2020. I think it might have been early 2022 or late 2021. It had delays. It had hilarious delays.
Okay.
Because it was during all the crunch stuff and like Cyberpunk coming out and being a mess, and they kind of went, "Ooh, let's not release it now."
Like, if we were to like narrow down like Game of the Year contenders, for like Microsoft, for Xbox, for PlayStation, and for Nintendo, what would be the Xbox exclusives that could compete for Game of the Year in 2023?
That's a great question. I don't know. I think they'd be indie titles.
I think Starfield can compete. I don't think it would win, but I think Starfield would be in the
for
conversation.
Sure. Like, again, there's enough of a player base for Starfield that really, really love it to give it a push up there. It definitely wouldn't be my Game of the Year, because it just didn't. Maybe they didn't give it a fair enough shake, but I think Tears of the Kingdom has a way better share. And like Final Fantasy is supposed to be amazing. But maybe Starfield would be up there. But yeah, I don't know. A lot of these discussions don't, like, we've talked about this before. Like, a lot of these discussions don't have much of a bearing on the way I play video games and like why I love Xbox so much.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
The reason you like Xbox is apparent to me. Yeah. Big time.
It's in your podcast name, like,
But like, it definitely seems to benefit someone who didn't get a lot of time in recent years to play video games and is now catching up. Yeah. If you are in that category, then you have a ton of content.
Yeah.
But if you are someone who games when the new games come out day one, it seems like you have nothing.
Yeah, well, nothing in terms of exclusivity, but
which is
like,
the relevance of today.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure, but like that doesn't mean that if you're an Xbox gamer, you can't play games.
I know, but you could play those games in 2022, right?
Yeah, or like you could. You're saying that you could also play them on PlayStation. You could also play them on Nintendo. I don't think that's an argument against Xbox. It's not like they're completely cut out of the loop. They're cut out of the loop and playing God of War or The Last of Us.
Oh yeah, no.
Zelda.
So in terms of the console exclusives, yeah, Xbox is losing there. Games Pass is an amazing thing. But again, I think it appeals to a certain kind of gamer, and like as Craig says, and like when you say it's the best deal in gaming, like statistically looking at it financially, absolutely it is. Like your bang for your buck is unquestionable. But that being said, from my perspective as a gamer, I don't want to now only have a chance to play Persona 5. I wanted to play Persona 5 when it came out 3-4 years ago. And the same thing that can be said for, I think some of the other games you brought up there, like Assassin's Creed Origins. If I wanted to play Assassin's Creed Origins, I would have, and I guess Assassin's Creed went away from me a long time ago. But let's say if in that argument, Origins was again 2 years ago, I don't want to have to, like, if I'm paying for a Games Pass, I'm paying for it for 2 years before I get to play this game that might be on my list of things that I want to play. So that's why, from my perspective, Games Pass doesn't appeal to me. But I cannot.
But there's a massive market of people. We can't, like, just because it doesn't benefit us. Like, there's definitely a massive market of people with not a lot of free time.
Yeah.
Anyone who has kids, like, will benefit massively. I'm in my mid-30s. I'm probably like against the norm for not for having so much free time. Like, most people who are 36 probably have very limited time and can play only a couple of games a year. Like,
And financially, financially, it is undeniably the best deal in gaming currently. And I can get onto that in my argument in PlayStation for sure.
It does also play into like a couple of other factors, stuff that I've talked about with Chris, where like I don't trust a lot of AAA games makers to release a working game on day one. Like that's not been my experience. I stay away from them, and I don't get bitten by like.
That's a solid argument.
I would never play an Assassin's Creed game on day one. Are you joking? Have you seen the glitches from those games? They're absolutely insane. I am delighted to play Assassin's Creed Origins after it's been beta tested for like 3 years, and I can play it for free. Yeah, that's great. That just pops up on my feed. I have a very casual relationship with when things come out. I kind of just approach it from a point of view that I love video games and I love original ideas and I love like trying new stuff all the time, and it just works for me. The last thing that I'll touch on before we get off of Xbox is kind of off the back of the Redfall L that Microsoft took. Phil Spencer hopped on with the kind of funny guys, wasn't it? Or
yeah.
He did an interview with those guys where he talked about all that kind of stuff, and I loved how he defended Arcane, which kind of spoke to the Microsoft philosophy, and like a part of it that I love, which is that he was like, Redfall didn't meet expectations. Like, it was literally a bad game. You weren't getting what you were supposed to get for the money that you paid for. We're going to fix that. That's wrong, and we're not going to let that happen again. But we're also not going to go and like knock on Arcane's door and say, you guys fucked all this up, you let this down, this is rah kind of thing.
He took ownership. It was like, we should have stepped in as the Microsoft side of things and directed them, but we kind of just opened the door. They were brand new to all the systems, and we kind of left them alone, and shouldn't have. And he wasn't saying it in a mean way, more of a, we should have been there to help, and we weren't. And
should have been there to help and not gatekeep. Not like he made a really good point about not trying to stymie any creativity from them, that he wants to leave devs to do what they do, but there's clearly like so many big flubs in video games. Like, there's clearly someone not communicating properly what the product they had that was ready because pressure was on them for whatever reason. The ball was dropped. Phil Spencer took that L, said, no, we're going to keep our faith in Arcane, as I believe he should, because they're a wonderful studio, and we're going to back them like to the end of time. And then in that same interview, we kind of touched a little bit about what Xbox's strategy is going forward, like what they're thinking regards to consoles. And I have a quote from him here, which is just, I don't know why, but he said, the philosophy of self-destruction and ripping up the old playbook is even more pertinent post-acquisition, speaking about the Activision Blizzard acquisition, reinforcing the strategy to build a robust portfolio of games and IPs. The business is no longer about the box itself, which is especially relevant in countries where consoles may never become a viable platform. So he's kind of talking about consoles there, and like what the PS6 is going to be and what the next Xbox is, and how their focus kind of really isn't on that anymore. I heard someone fight that argument and they were talking about like the specs that smartphones have, like mobile phones have these days, because he was like, look, you can play a bunch of games that you thought would only run on your console on your phone now, not with cloud gaming. You can just download them and play them on your phone with a Bluetooth controller. And Phil seems really keen to get the Xbox platform as many places as possible.
Yeah,
I remember a friend in 2016, I think it was, telling me he was really excited because his Switch had an Xbox app appear on it, and he got really excited about it. He was telling me about it, and he was like, do you know what this means? This means that I could like play my Xbox games on my Switch. And I was like, I don't think that that's what that means. Like, do you really believe that like Microsoft is actually going to try and move their games onto other platforms like Switch? And he was right. Like, that is their long-term strategy. We heard about it coming out that Xbox tried to buy Nintendo at one point.
Oh my god, yeah! Thank God that didn't happen. Otherwise,
run them into the ground.
Yeah, you'd have them in the green. You'd be fighting the green corner then, Craig. God love you, like, you know.
It would be the grey corner because green and red would cancel each other.
Oh, look at that! Yeah.
What color does that make?
Grey, just grey.
Just grey.
Yeah, they cancel each other out. So their strategy at the moment seems to be to just get their stuff onto as many platforms as possible. And that comes from a perspective of like having as many IPs and like strong, like a good portfolio of games, and just getting that out to as many people as possible. and the Game Pass model is the perfect vehicle for that, and it seems to be working. I've no idea how Project xCloud is going. I've no idea what their cloud gaming service is like. I played it a bit last year and I had fun with it. Playing Cyberpunk on this phone was...
Why would you do that?
It was class.
Like, no, don't lie.
It was
There's
class.
no way it was fun. That's ridiculous.
It was
what an
very
awful
fun.
thing to say.
Driving around the
you
city
thought
in my car.
Cyberpunk was good on a fucking
just driving around my car
6-inch screen. Oh my god.
It was so fun. Not shooting.
Even
anything,
on my
just driving
65-inch TV, I wish it could be bigger. Like,
more
I'm
stuff
like,
to
I
take
need
in.
more space.
So do you want me to go ahead and fight old blue
No,
corner here?
I'm angry now. I need to go next.
You
Okay,
all right,
yeah,
right. Nintendo. Take
Because
it
we
away,
were
Craig.
talking about nothing for like the last 15 minutes, I would wager. Like, I was like, when is he going to say something? It's like a news episode or something. Like, no, I can't have that. So I'm going in with games. This is why Nintendo had such a great year. A new Fire Emblem game. They had 48 new tracks for Mario Kart, including one that they're going to release next week, which is my favorite of all time.
DK
and that is DK Mountain
Wait.
for the GameCube.
If they're new tracks, how can it be your favorite game of all time? Are all 48 of them new?
Did I say favorite game of all time?
No, your favorite track of all time. What?
Favorite track of all time from the GameCube game in 2002.
Oh, so
They're releasing it for Mario Kart 8.
The 48 tracks aren't new.
It's 48 for Mario Kart 8. They're being released as new tracks, but for the newest game, the Switch game. You know,
cool.
but they're all old tracks.
Yeah,
they're releasing them as new, so you can kind of call them remastered. But you get them all for €25, which is amazing in terms of like a package deal. Like, because I don't know if you guys remember, but like the first 4 Mario Kart games only had 16 tracks. Like even Double Dash on the GameCube, which was my favorite, only had 16. So this now has 96 in total, So you can get those 96 if you go on and get the Switch game for €50 using one of your vouchers. You're not going to get it any cheaper than that because Nintendo don't do that. But you'll get the DLC for 25. So that's for €75. You're getting the best Mario Kart game ever with an extra 48 tracks on top of the existing 48. Like that just makes Mario Kart 8 the greatest Mario Kart ever, like it's absolutely fantastic. And I love that they finally got some of those great new tracks, because some of those tracks are just absolutely amazing. So Fire Emblem, I actually thought it was a shite game, but it's a big game for Nintendo, so I mean we'll throw Fire Emblem Engage in
there. It was
awful, but some people enjoyed it, and the meta score is pretty good. I don't know how. Pikmin 4 was Miyamoto's project. He'd been working on it for about 10 years.
Craig, are you really leading your Nintendo arguments with a Pikmin 4 release?
No,
not leading, but
I'm
are you
not
including
leading.
that?
I'm including it.
Oh my god!
If I didn't include it, I'd run out of games very quickly.
Things are not boding well for Nintendo in 2020.
No, I mean, I could have opened with like a big one, but I'm like, no, I'm going to build up to it.
Okay, good. That's good.
Because these are big release. Like Pikmin 4 is a massive release. Donkey had a video on it, so it's big, So then there's Kirby's Dream Return to Dreamland, which was a remaster of the Wii game. I'd never even heard of this, but it sold loads, so I'm just going to include it. Then we had Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp. Granted, that was made in 2022, but they didn't release it then because of the war, because they were cowards, but it's a 2023 game. Paper Mario The 1,000-Year Door, another remaster of an amazing RPG from 2002.
Good RPG.
Metroid Prime remastered. They released the trilogy as a buy it again.
Nintendo
GameCube games were absolutely amazing, but they're re-releasing them, so there
I was
you
going
go.
to say, Nintendo's sounding pretty tired so far.
Then I thought it would be absolutely terrible, because I honestly thought every 2D Mario... I've never liked the 2D Mario games since Mario Brothers 3. I thought they mastered it then, and then they've just been trying to copy it since. But that Super Mario Brothers Wonder game has been getting like 10 out of 10s and stuff like that.
I can stand for that. I'm playing it with the guys at the minute. We're, I don't know, like 25% of the way through the game. It is such a joy to play. Such a joy. Like,
I mean, some people have been going, oh, that's a massive contender for Game of the Year. I'm like, how could it ever be better than Super Mario Odyssey? Like a 3D Mario with like hundreds of worlds and hundreds of great levels. And this is just a 2D scroller where I'm jumping on Goombas. But guess what? I can turn into an elephant now. Like, that's not enough. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Big
This
time.
is great. He's fighting our corner for us.
I was going to say, I'm just going to sit back here and let Craig destroy his own
as soon as Super Mario Maker came out, I was like, great, done. 2D Mario is dead. We don't need it anymore.
I thought that too, yeah.
It's over.
The community's got this, yeah.
But apparently Super Mario Wonder is great.
Well, and also, as a point, I mean, I'm surprised you want to say that the great 2D Mario is dead. 2D Mario, for me, is still one of my favorite all-time platforming games, and I'm glad we got a new one. And, it's kind of family-friendly and a bit easy.
Yeah.
But 2D Mario platformers have been some of for me, the best games ever made. Sorry, I just wanted to make that point for you.
Okay, well, since the 2D Mario Brother, since the new Super Mario Brothers came into play, they have released New Super Mario Brothers, New Super Mario Brothers Wii, New Super Mario Brothers DS, New Super Mario Brothers 3DS, New Super Luigi Brothers, and New Super Mario Brothers Wii U. They are all carbon copies of each other with the same background, generic background every single time. Like, you know, like I don't know if you played the Donkey Kong Tropical.
I did.
Freeze. Like that shit's all over every single one of those Mario games. Like no question.
But see, this is what I'm. So Wonders is especially important because
they do have different backgrounds. I noticed that. I was like, well done, Nintendo. You finally decide to fucking put a screenshot on the screen.
Yeah. But it does. It was good. You know, my thing about for Nintendo would be good for you guys because they had really gotten so tired in other 2D, you know, Mario side-scrolling games, and Wonders has been a real refreshing step in the right direction.
And it's great to see them actually work at it because for me, my opinion has always been Nintendo will always release a 2D Mario when they have nothing to release. Because they know they can probably make that game in about 2 months, 3 months,
and it will
because
sell
they're just refreshing. They already had Mario Maker, so we know that they have the tools to make these things really quick. So they probably just fucking threw a quick package together and went, there you go, there's a IGN 8 out of 10. They won't ever criticize us, so this is going to sell really well. Like, you know, and it's just a generic 2D Mario game. So Super Mario Brothers Wonder, fantastic for them. They've actually put the effort in this time. You know, so it's great because the last 10 years they've really been fucking lazy with that shit. But the number one game I say for this entire year, maybe even the last decade, is Tears of the Kingdom, The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, and that is an exceptional game, you know, and it came out in May. I didn't get to talk about it at the review, but I absolutely adored that game and all the creative things you could do in it. Like, so I was just overwhelmed with what I could do and how good it made me feel. So that is just a classic case of games. Now, I mentioned about 10 games there. Not one of them is on Xbox. Not one of them is on PlayStation. They are all Nintendo only, you know? So if you want to play these games, and most people would, because Tears of the Kingdom is a must-have game. Super Mario Brothers Wonder, if you have siblings, if you have kids, is a must-own game, you know? Metroid Prime, if you didn't play it in 2002, or Paper Mario, if you didn't play it in 2002, or Advance Wars, if you didn't play it in 2004, or Kirby's Return to Dreamland, if you didn't play it in 2008, like... Then you can play these games.
Can pay €300 for a console and an additional €60 for every one of these
every one
titles.
of those tired remakes.
Every one of those absolute tired remakes. But granted, as great as those games are, and it's the reason I dislike the whole Game Pass, my Xbox argument, is that Metroid Prime, although it was a great game, it was a great game in 2002. Now, I don't know, because I can't judge it on that merit, like, you know, and it is just a remaster, and I'm not excited because I played it to completion multiple times. The same way with Paper Mario, the 1,000-Year Door, I would tell every single person to go out and buy that game. But I played it 3 or 4 times in 2002. So it's useless to me now. Like, I don't want to play it. I played it to death. I know all the characters. I know all the levels. I know everything. So that is absolutely useless to me. Advance Wars was a absolutely lazy-ass remaster that had terrible multiplayer.
Was it?
The original game was so excellent that if you never played it, it's still a must-own game.
And like the multiplayer was close to being amazing. They got lazy on connectivity options. And classic Nintendo, because, you know, online Nintendo is notoriously poor. But yeah, we tried getting into that, and it had so much potential to be excellent. And it just,
if we do get another go, I actually did create 2 more levels for me, you and Colin to try out, just to give it a once more go over. Because I put so much effort into balancing them out so it'd be completely fair for all 3 of us. So yeah, a separate topic for another day, but I'm really looking forward to that. So that's more kind of awesome gameplay that we've been able to get out of Advance Wars. But I mean, you go down the lists, I mean, the Mario Karts, the Fire Emblem, like, these are massive games, not for me, but for Nintendo and financially and whatever. Like Pikmin, Mario Kart, Fire Emblem, New Mario, New Zelda, and then a bunch of remasters. And like, that is, if anything, it might even be Nintendo's biggest year ever.
And what's most impressive about that is this is definitely the Switch's swan song year.
It's by 100%, it's the swan song year. Next year, I'm going to get absolutely annihilated if we have this conversation again. Like,
But
because I mean, they're going to have nothing. They're going to throw out a couple of 2D Marios at the end of the year.
I think we'll get Switch 2 next year. I think we'll get an announcement. I think we'll get Switch 2 next year. I don't know what games we'll get, but we'll get Switch 2.
I don't think 2.
I think we might get Switch 2. I don't
if
think
we
we'll
get Switch 2, then it's going to have the worst launch.
Oh, yeah.
Possibly.
Maybe not the worst launch, because the Wii U also had a terrible launch, but it's going to mimic the launch of the Wii U. Because they've nothing built up.
Yeah.
If they just released the Zelda, if they just released the Mario,
Or if
that
Tears of
means
the
they
Kingdom was
can't
getting
have
a
a new one
DLC.
for at least 3 years. You know?
Yeah.
But it's impressive for me to think that, like, when I think about, you know, the ending of the PS3 era, the ending of the PS4 era, like, they were still kind of like banging out games for those as the PS4 was coming into existence and this iteration when the PS5 was coming into existence. But all the games they were banging out were nothing games. Whereas the Switch and Nintendo, it's quite impressive that some of their biggest IPs had brand new iterations of their games coming out in their final year, which was not what I expected. I thought, like, when I first saw the lineups for, like, you know, things that might come into the future, it was like there's a Peach game, Luigi's Mansion 2 for the DS is getting remastered. I was like, but it's actually been.
But that's what I feel. Those are the games that are going to come out next year, which is why I don't think we're going to get the Switch 2, because
it might get announced next year.
It might get announced next year, but it won't get released, because then it will literally have no games, because all the studios are busy still. Like, nobody is free to make a Switch 2 game, you know?
Yeah. True that.
So for 2023, I'm putting my hat in the corner for Nintendo. Tears of the Kingdom will be Game of the Year, because I played Final Fantasy 16. I haven't played Super Mario Brothers Wonder, but if it wasn't good enough to beat Mario Odyssey, then it's not good enough to beat fucking Zelda 2, which is a better game.
I love that people are considering that to be Game of the Year, but as a person who's played it, I'm like, that's not in the conversation.
I know, but you know how these people like IGN and they're all biased, and they're like, oh, a 2D Mario game that hasn't been a Game of the Year contender since, I don't know, fucking 1999. Let's throw it in there. Even though it's completely not in there on merit.
It's a political.
It's weird. Like, I don't know if you guys remember, but Super Mario Galaxy in 2007 won Game of the Year, and then 2009 Super Mario Galaxy 2 got better reviews, got better scores all around, and wasn't even nominated because it got it the first time. So people were like, let's not give it the second time. I'm like, you fucking bastards. That has nothing to do with the merit system of a video game.
Yeah.
You don't go touchy feelings on like, no, I want that type of game to do well. It's either a good game or it isn't. Mm-hmm. Take your personal shit out of here, you know? Super Mario Galaxy 2 was the best game of 2009 and wasn't nominated. Mm-hmm. And I think that's an absolute disgrace.
It's only just occurring to me, Greg, that you are the only, I think you're one of the only people I know who's played Tears of the Kingdom and FF16, because I hear a lot of people claiming FF16 for Game of the Year, but
FF16
well, it's always anyone in those corners are usually like, they just haven't played what's better, so they just, for them it's a great game, and for me it's a great game too. It's an 8 out of 10, which is the best Final Fantasy has been since
in a really long time.
You know?
Since then. Wow. Okay.
But it's like,
so I'm still delighted, but it's not Game of the Year. Not even close.
16 will be a nomination for sure, I think, but it won't win Game of the Year.
Like, even playing Final Fantasy 7 now, and Niall is playing Final Fantasy 7, a friend of ours, and he's like, man, this is so much better. And like, Final Fantasy 7 wasn't Game of the Year, and that came out 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
It was my Game of the Year that year. It's a pity it didn't win it, but there we go. Are you ready for the blue corner, gentlemen?
Is that
I think I'm ready for the blue corner. So I have no idea how well Switch sold. I have no idea what their strategy is for 2024. All I know is in 2023 they've released 2 Game of the Year contenders, one of which will be Game of the Year.
Nice.
Another
a final argument to end it on. Oh, you got something, Luke?
No, I just I don't want to. I don't think they're hitting their sales targets. Is what came off the back of the last.
It's
Nintendo
just everyone
Direct.
already has a Switch. It's already
and it's
really,
like,
really
that's what I mean.
selling.
It's like, you know, Nintendo in this argument's at a bit of a disadvantage because we're talking about Xbox and PlayStation in the middle of this console generation, and Nintendo dragging the body of the Switch through the dirt,
through the last console generation.
Like, come on, please, but do us another year, you know.
Which is great. I think they're doing great given
the fact that it's like 7-8 years old now.
Like, Nintendo will always be the second console, you know. Like, it's, I don't think it's many people's first console, because if it is, you're losing out on way too much.
That's it. Like, I own an Xbox and I own a Nintendo Switch.
I own a PlayStation, I own a Nintendo Switch.
And I own a PlayStation and a Nintendo Switch. And I think for a lot of people, that's the way it's going to remain until Xbox get the exclusives going. You know. Or you know, fucking Sony make a Game Pass, you know, like, to switch it
something affordable,
like, you know, because it's one that has great games and others has all the games from everywhere.
What on that? Right before we jump into the PlayStation stuff, of course, what's the price point of PS Plus Extra? Omega, whatever
I can find it now. Unfortunately,
the one I have was 6. Apparently, it's gone up, but I got it for €60, and it has everything except the PlayStation 1 games and stuff like that.
For €60 for the year, is it?
60, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Or wasn't it? No, because 60 was the regular. It was €100 then.
So the PS Plus Essential now, after which is the basic one, which you need, and this would be one of my criticisms when I get into my fighting for the blue corner. Unfortunately, the 12-month membership for PlayStation Plus Essential, the basic one, is €72 now after the 30% increase.
What's the middle tiered one?
The premium.
That's the one I have. That's the one everyone should get if they don't want to play games from 20 years ago because they're irrelevant.
I wish you would just show me the price point of them. Maybe PlayStation are a bit embarrassed to put the price.
I'm sure they
the
can't
first
compete in
place.
that category. Yeah,
the cost of their membership stuff is in last place. Because the funny thing about it is now, I mean, Nintendo doesn't have a huge amount to offer, I don't think, in their online the online spectrum.
No, I didn't even mention that.
But I got Nintendo, online for another year for $19.99. I was like, wow, yeah, it's dirt cheap.
But the Nintendo, to fight that corner a little bit, the Nintendo Plus stuff, you do get all those Mario tracks. If you
that's extra.
That's the
you need the extra tier,
the higher tier,
which is 50 quid a year.
Which is 50 quid a year, which is the same price as like a PlayStation, which gets 3 free games every month. Whereas this Nintendo, you can play about 10 Super Nintendo games, about 10 N64 games. It's a crap package. So much so that I wasn't even going to mention that.
It would be amazing because their Game Boy package, because they have all the virtual consoles. But if they had on the Game Boy packages the big games like the Pokemons and stuff like that, there'd definitely be more people in there. But they're not putting them out, and I don't know what it's Game Freak. Maybe he's not keen on that happening.
Because
they're going to remaster all those again. I mean, there was no Pokemon this year, which is crazy to think.
That's not true, is it?
There's a DLC bundle being released.
Was the most recent Pokemon game last year?
It's last year, yeah. And the DLC is next.
So usually
that's insane.
You get a new Pokemon game every second year, and and a third version was their thing that they used to do. You got your Ruby Sapphire, and then you get
But now they do DLC.
Yeah, but now they do DLC for the existing game, which I prefer them to do. But these DLCs are less substantial than those
a whole
ones.
game. Yeah. And it would help if the Pokemon games were good, as opposed to just getting worse. But ladies and gentlemen, we come to the blue corner, and I'm going to smash this one right out of the park. It's going to be great.
Don't tee yourself up as though this is the best to last. That's why I wanted to go last.
Hey, listen, I offered you the spot. You said you needed to get it down.
That's true, though. I had the momentum at the time.
Yeah. So I'll start off with the exclusive game list, and this is what PlayStation's currently knocking. And don't get me wrong, there's a dud in there as well. But let's go through the PlayStation exclusive this year alone and what it's been hitting. What people love about it. Final Fantasy 16 Game of the Year contender, 87 on Metacritic. Hogwarts Legacy, the PS5 exclusive version with exclusive PlayStation 5 quests, 84.
Hit game.
Yeah. No, 84 on Metacritic. Spider-Man 2, a 90 on Metacritic, one of the biggest IPs in the world. Forspoken, the dud, 64. Horizon Call of the Mountain, the VR, 79 on Metacritic. Forbidden West DLC, 82 on Metacritic. Tchia, 77 on Metacritic. And of course, Baldur's Gate 3, which only arrived on PlayStation and PC, 96 on Metacritic. And that's just this year. That's just this year on PlayStation. PlayStation every year has loads of exclusives. And what we got this year in terms of announcements, we've got Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth to look forward to next year, guys. It's going to be fucking one of the biggest games ever. And I think I've got...
Should be stricken from the record, though. It's a February 2024.
Yeah, no, but I'm just talking
about... You get no points.
I'm just talking about the planned releases, right? So that's what I'm going to kick off in. And of course, it's PlayStation's, it's their modus operandi. It's what they go to. It's these amazing exclusive games that you can only play on PlayStation that are 9 times out of 10 incredibly good games. Like I said, Final Fantasy 16, one of my favorite Final Fantasies that I've played in a long time. I got such an enjoyment out of the game. I don't think it's going to win Game of the Year, but it's absolutely in the in the conversation for sure. What a great game, what a great narrative thing to play, and brave of them to be like, we're just going to do a one character linear narrative in an action Final Fantasy RPG style, and for me, I think they knocked it out of the park. It was amazing. Then they have Hogwarts Legacy with the PS5 exclusive things. Now I'm being a bit cheating on this one because Hogwarts Legacy is coming to everything, or will come to everything, but PlayStation got a time exclusive and got exclusive quests in the game as well. And you're talking about the Harry Potter IP, again, one of the biggest IPs in the world. And then we go to Spider-Man 2, one of the most hotly anticipated games ever.
When did that come out?
That was only about a month ago, wasn't it?
It was
2 weeks.
2 weeks ago, if even.
Okay.
Yeah. So 90 on Metacritic, definitely in the conversation for Game of the Year. Probably could be Zelda's biggest competitor, I would say.
I'd say it'll be Baldur's Gate 3.
I hope it is.
Biggest competitor.
Yeah. But we're talking again, this is what I mean. You're talking, if you were to ask me, Darren, what games do you think are going to be nominated for Game of the Year? Zelda's got to be in there without a question. You get 6 games, right? You get 6 games in the nominations. Zelda's going to be in there. And for me, the rest of them will be Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2, Final Fantasy 16, Hogwarts, possibly, maybe not.
Not a chance. If that gets in there, I will riot. Like,
Starfield will probably be in there. But if you're talking about that, like PlayStation 5 exclusives are making up 50% of the Game of the Year conversation, which is a big deal.
Baldur's Gate 3 isn't a PlayStation exclusive.
I mean, by the time we come to, it's PC, it's console exclusive. It's not coming to Xbox until
not
Xbox.
Console exclusive.
But it's not coming to Xbox until they solve the problems, which means it's not out now. It's not out now for Xbox.
I wouldn't say it's an exclusive, but they have it first.
It's not an exclusive. They have it first, but it's not an exclusive. It's out this day next month on Xbox.
But that's still too little, too late for me. Like, you know,
it's like still 2023. If we're talking about the games of 2023, you can't pull that
you could go like, Final Fantasy 7 will be with Xbox slated 2025 any day now. You know, like you don't. Unless it's out in the year we're talking about.
But then by the same
but also, but this is what I'm talking about when I talk about PlayStation 5 and its importance in 2023 and why. The blue corner is the one you want to be rooting for because the PlayStation 5, the system and, you know, what people and developers have to work with. You want to make a game for PlayStation 5, it's just there. Xbox has all this complicated stuff. We've got a high-powered console and a low-powered console and, you know, Larian Studios come out and be like, we've got this great game that's going to be amazing. And Xbox is like, sorry, we can't have it on all our systems. So Baldur's Gate, people are like,
pretty bad.
No. Can't do it. Whereas PlayStation is like, yeah, here's the key to Baldur's Gate 3. You get it all, baby.
Granted,
like,
though, have you played Baldur's Gate 3 on the split screen thing?
Yes.
It does not work.
I don't.
So immediately, like myself and Geraldine, my girlfriend, we were like playing the game on split screen, and any single time that my main character went to talk to someone, and she hit the L2 button to like look in on the chat, once the conversation ended, it would never go back to her. She'd always just be looking at me. And no amount of reloading or resaving.
What do you mean she was?
Anything.
Oh, she was just stuck.
Yeah. So basically, her split screen is now just a kind of camera that's looking at the back of my character, and it never.
So
went
interesting
off.
because I've been playing through a campaign with Kev, and we've never had any problems with
that.
The split
didn't
screen.
happen.
No, not once.
Because when I went online, nearly everyone was complaining of that.
Well, then I've been very lucky. I've been very lucky if that's the
on
case.
The 500, whatever the PlayStation 5 costs, I don't take it as an L that Xbox has a budget version of their console that can't run the game.
But a budget version, and this is what I mean, is as the console life cycle goes on for Xbox, and everybody finally, you know, developers are approaching things and say, we now know how to maximize the power of this generation. The Xbox Series S is going to be left to dirt because there'll be so many games that they'll be like, well, we can't actually power a game on this, so why are we going to release it on this? And all those people who bought Xbox Series S is thinking, hey, it's a cheaper version. You know, as the generation goes on, there could be loads of things that they're left out on. If you're on PlayStation 5, you ain't going to be left in the dirt for anything. It'll all be there.
Could be, but that's not been proven to be.
I know. We'll
Hearsay.
also have to have a look
Hearsay.
at the doors and rebirths to see if they're up to scratch, or if we're waiting on the PlayStation 5 Plus for the doors to be rendered.
We'll wait and see. So I'm going to go to some of the, I suppose, the arguments against, because I'll be fair, because it hasn't been a perfect year for PlayStation, not even close. The first thing would be the massive drop in their share price that happened this year. That happened alongside the release of Final Fantasy 16, and everyone was like, oh, Final Fantasy 16 must have been such a bad game that it dropped their share price. Not the reason why, but last year, which has caused them, you know, a share issue this year, they made a lot of dud games. You know, I mean, Forspoken this year was a dud game, but last year they had, what ones do I have here? Marvel's Avengers, Forspoken this year, really crap. And then the Diofield Chronicle, which was I don't know anything about that game, but it was an absolute flop and cost them a lot of money to make. So they're not making the smartest decisions in games that they make. I mean, Marvel's Avengers should have been an insanely popular and amazing IP, but they turned what was an incredible franchise into a very bad game. So that's on you, Sony.
That was a Squeenix game, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah. And like a Squeenix are just, Sony. It's not exclusive per se, but they only work with Sony, really. Another thing as well, of course, we have to talk about is the acquisition. You know, Xbox's Activision acquisition is going to spell bad news for PlayStation in the future. I know nothing's happened yet, but it's kind of, for me, it's the death knell of a lot of things that would have been available for PlayStation in the future no longer being available for PlayStation. So that's probably a little bit of a downside.
I wouldn't deduct marks if it doesn't impact your 2023 in any way.
What will impact my 2023 is the absolutely disgusting PlayStation Plus membership price increase. I think across the board it was close to 30% they increased the price of the membership, which is astronomical considering, you know, people are still coming out of COVID and, you know, businesses and developers recovering from that. And I guess, you know, PlayStation are trying to recoup some stuff from their bad 2022 or 2021, whatever it might have been. But that was a tough pill for me to swallow because...
Where do you get on it?
On which...
PlayStation.
They've got 3 levels. So you've got Essential, Premium, and... don't know if it's called Ultimate or something else. Let me have it here on the thing. We have
you get 3 games a month.
Essential, Extra, and Premium. So with Essential, it's monthly games. You can play online. You get exclusive discounts, and then share play, cloud storage, blah blah blah. With Extra, you get a game catalog and the Ubisoft classics. So you get all the Ubisoft games and a game catalog, which includes a vast array of, kind of like a Games Pass, not a library as big as Game Pass, but you do get a library to look at there. I think it had like things like Ghost of Tsushima, all that kind of stuff. And then on their top range one, you get the classics games. So the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2 and the retro PlayStation games all become available on the top tier one.
It's kind of like Nintendo's model.
Yeah, on top of everything else that they do, but it's too expensive. It is too expensive. I think you're talking €72 a year for the Essential one, and the Essential one you need to play on certain online games for PlayStation as well. So that's a poor. It's not the most affordable membership plan for PlayStation, so I will give it some negatives for that. But here you go. I got some good news, big news for you today, fellas. And this is the PlayStation Portal, which I pre-ordered today.
You can. It's appropriate that you're saying this right after your list of bad things that have happened for Sony this year.
Yeah, but I think it's fun, and it's, again, I'm speaking from a very personal level because I know from the grand scheme of things, it's not a great design. The fact that PlayStation have made this portable device, which to me, when it first came out, I was like, this looks a little bit daft, but I love it now. It's like, hey, we took a PS5 controller, split it in half, and jammed a really nice screen in the middle of it. Now you can play PS5 games. I'm keen on it. But I know it's not a great model because it needs to be on the same Wi-Fi as your PlayStation 5. So it's purely just another way to play.
That's pointless.
Remotely.
That is so stupid. Like, what a dumb thing to do. Like, that's only useful if like you and your siblings are watching TV and you want to play games, but they're like, no, I want to watch Spider-Man. So then you can like go on your lap and play.
Yeah.
That's the only scenario.
And the price point is like going to be 200. Actually, you know what the price point is.
219 quid.
Oh god.
Better than what people anticipated, because Xbox had come out. And this is the to and fro with the court case, is that Microsoft had leaked the PlayStation Portal in their legal thing during that, and they said that they didn't think it was going to be available for less than $300. So proven wrong there. I mean, still expensive, but I'm very excited for it because it means that I can play the likes of my God of War Ragnaroks, my Final Fantasy VII remakes, my Horizon Forbidden West in those amazing graphics, curled up in bed on a cold, rainy winter's night.
Just turn your TV on. What are you
No,
talking about?
I want to be in bed.
If you curled up in bed and like that's when your eyes are tired on that small screen, you're not even going to see shit. Like, you know, you're just like, wait, what am I doing? The second you press pause, everything's a blur.
Craig,
you know?
None of what you're saying is incorrect, but I am still so excited for this. I'm genuinely. It's one of those things that I get that it's not the greatest model at all, but it's something that appeals to me in ways I can't even begin to explain, and I'm so excited that I think mine will be arriving in about 10 days time, and I cannot wait.
I'm excited for you. I really hope it is exactly what you want it to be. My fears, like straight off the bat, are it connects over Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah.
And do you have to use like 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi? Do you know what
No idea what the situation there is, no.
Because most Wi-Fi routers have like a 2.4 gigahertz and a 5 gigahertz setting.
Yeah.
The 5 gigahertz is way faster for like transfer of, like it's gigahertz is the refresh rate.
Yeah.
It's like twice as much as 2.4.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell us, Luke. We know how gigahertz work.
There you go. Greg.
I know 5 is double 2.5, Luke.
It's a higher number, duh.
So, but because it's a higher number, because the frequency is higher, it doesn't go through walls as well as the 2.4 gigahertz. So the higher the frequency, the less is a physicsy thing, but the less it can get through walls. So if Darren walks into his bedroom on his 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi and tries to play God of War, he could be getting to the pivotal scene and then like get packet loss or something. Because
I'll let you know in 2
He's
weeks.
never going to do that because like he has a TV right there. He's talking nonsense.
But when I get into bed, and what I'm really excited about is when I go on holidays, things like that, to visit my family, and it's like, oh well, my brother already has a PlayStation set up, but I can just bring my PS5, plug it in, connect it to the Wi-Fi, just leave it plugged in somewhere. It doesn't need to be connected to a TV. I'll lug it in the suitcase, doesn't bother me, and then I'll sit down cozy with the family and the fire on, and I'll take out my PS5 controller with an inbuilt screen, and I'll be like, Final Fantasy
Look at that
VII
very,
Rebirth.
very hypothetical scenario that will never happen.
The
His family will be like, hey Darren, we're all going out to fucking this restaurant. You come and he'd be like, no, I bought this thing. I got to use it. It's my one moment, you know. I've been waiting months to use this. I've got an hour window while you guys go to the restaurant. I can cuddle up with a
portable
fire.
Gaming scenario where he takes his like 10 kilo PlayStation 5 with him to play portably.
I will will build my own like suitcase that's just developed for me being able to play portably on this this tiny little.
Can't
thing,
even bring it on a plane or anything.
No, it's completely useless. Yeah. And it's funny because everything you're saying is 100% correct. I'm gonna keep that in the episode. Everything you're saying is 100% correct, and yet it does not deter me from my excitement for this thing at all.
Okay. Well, I don't want to wreck your buzz, so I won't say any more on it. But you are.
I don't want to yuck your yums, but me and Craig will take that as a massive L for PlayStation this year.
That's fair. But at least I got a handheld. Where's Xbox?
I mean, they got you excited about it somehow.
I was thinking about that today. There's no news or anything like that, but I thought the coolest answer to that from Xbox would be to just release a controller pack, USB-C, that plugs into your phone, that has a battery inside it, so it doesn't drain the charge on your phone, and you can just play your Xbox games. You can mirror them over Wi-Fi already.
Yep.
You can do all that stuff already on Xbox.
They have,
or you can play it over like 5G while you're walking
once
around.
Once Xbox and Microsoft have all of their infrastructure in place,
Man,
the idea of them making
beautiful.
a handheld it's like it should be a foregone conclusion. But I've not even heard a whisper of a possible.
No, that's it. They don't need their handheld can be like 30 quid. It's like a controller that just like wraps around your phone. It's the kind they exist already. Like they're made by third-party companies already.
Yeah.
Microsoft.
I just don't want to play on my phone because I mean I have an aversion to mobile gaming in general. I just don't want to play on my phone. I want to play on something that I know is specifically built.
That's 30% bigger.
No,
than
but
your
it's the
phone.
exact same screen.
But I want.
He just has little contraptions on the end.
I want.
It's totally different.
I want a handheld with PS5 controllers on either side. Damn it, that doesn't work. So just the final thing that I'll end on PlayStation 5 in terms of what they've announced in 2023 that will get me excited for the future of PS5, so that I know that the 2023 isn't ending with just like, well, that was it. I know that we said Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has been announced. They talked about the PlayStation 5 Slim, which doesn't do anything for me, but for people looking to get into PlayStation now that it's readily available, I mean, the PlayStation 5 is an absolute giant hulk of a thing. The idea that they're building a Slim that'll be like possibly better processing power, but like weightier, smaller. That's cool.
Means
that's more
nothing
stuff
to me. I already bought it. Not day one because it wasn't available, but the second I could, I got it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you listened to the news episode on this, but the PS Slim price point is going to be, is it the same as the PS5 or more?
If you want to get the PS5 with the disc thing to attach to it, it's more expensive than buying a normal PS5.
And the PS5 is not being produced anymore, just the PS5 Slim.
Yeah.
So
once a new one comes out, the old one is obsolete anyway. So,
but if the only thing limiting you buying a PlayStation 5 was the size of it, then you can now get a PS5.
Yeah.
But it's the same price, if not more expensive.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm excited.
But like the second it does release, they will make the other one cheaper, right?
That's
like
possible.
they've announced it. They've announced it now. I think the price will come down, much like it has done. Like historically, for all the PlayStation Slims, things like that, they do come out at a certain price point and get cheaper over time. I've no doubt that'll be the case. But for me to put my closing argument in for the blue corner, and we can maybe have a little quick discussion because the episode is running on. We've been here quite a while.
How long are we at? Are we okay?
Yeah, I'm curious.
We are at an hour and 8 minutes so far.
Shit.
Yeah,
That's okay. No, that's okay. It was bound to be.
Yeah, it's not too much. But for the closing argument for PlayStation, the exclusive is kind of what tends to be where the industry is at the minute. I'm not saying that won't change in the future, but that seems to be what's really pulling a lot of people. PlayStation exclusives currently are top of the line, like consistently. Forspoken is a bad one, but you look at like the Gods of War, whatever. 2023, you look at Final Fantasy 16, and you might say Baldur's Gate 3 isn't an exclusive, but coming up to the time where we announced in the Game Awards, PlayStation's the only console you can play it on.
Still, if like Baldur's Gate 3 won Game of the Year, I wouldn't go, well done, Sony.
No, you wouldn't.
No, not at all.
It has no affiliation with
not
that.
at all.
Exactly.
But
Which is why you can't
but leading
cancel.
it up to the Game Awards, it's the only console you can play it on. Because Xbox didn't get the shit together
It
in
is
time
the only
for
console you can play it on.
to play it. And like there's loads of people who aren't PC gamers and stuff like that. But then looking back on it, then we've got the likes of Spider-Man 2, Final Fantasy 16. When it comes to the 6 nominations for Game of the Year, I guarantee you the PlayStation exclusives are going to make up 50% of that conversation, which for me is huge.
It could be even slightly more.
Guarantee. What's the 50%?
Like you get 6 games are nominated for Game of the Year.
So Baldur's Gate 3 and Spider-Man are definites, based on the review scores they've been getting, because they're in the 9s.
I'll give you
Final Fantasy 16 I think would be there. It's 87 on Metacritic and hugely popular. So I think you're guaranteed 3 games. I still think Hogwarts Legacy has a chance, but that's not a fair example because I'm only taking this as the PS5 one with exclusive quests.
I think it might get
I think people will
turn.
realize, because I mean, if you take out the Hogwarts and Harry Potter bias,
it's not a great game.
It's a piece of shit. Okay, so and like surely the people at the game we'll have a little. I don't give them too much cop on because, like I said, Super Mario Galaxy 2 did not get a mention despite being the best game. So they could be like, oh, you know what, we need Harry Potter to do well, so let's give them the little vote.
Warner Brothers slide a little brown envelope.
So they could be paid off. But like, I mean, we don't have Chris. We don't have the fourth kind of representation for PC. So you're certain that PC won't have a bunch of games on that Game of the Year list?
I don't think there'll be a PC exclusive that we can't get on a console that'll be in the 6 nominations. I think anything that comes into those 6 games and the nominations will be available in, either on the Switch, the PlayStation, the Xbox, or all 3. I don't think there's anything that's going to be a PC exclusive. I can't think of the entire year that we've gone through so far where I've said to myself, fuck man, that PC game that I really want to play, that looks amazing. I've never once had that thought.
Well, I've never once had that thought any year. But that's why I don't have a PC.
But what I mean to say is like these games, like, Final Fantasy 16, I think it was PC and PlayStation. Baldur's Gate, of course, PC and PlayStation. Spider-Man 2, I think, will be a thing that will come to PC over time. So there'll be PC games. But I think all of the nominations for this year's Game Awards will be available on a console, if not all 3 consoles, and I think PlayStation, Sony is going to make up the majority of that conversation.
Yeah, I'd agree. At least 3, I'd say it will have, if the PC doesn't have any Game of the Year nominations, because I think Tears of the Kingdom will be nominated. Mario Wonder maybe, and then there's probably going to be an Xbox.
I think
just to show variety.
Starfield,
terrible, they're going to put one in.
Well, no, I don't think Starfield was terrible, but I think Starfield, from an engineering point of view and what's in it, I think is a pretty important game to have in that conversation as well. And as Luke said, like hugely popular as well. Not everybody's cup of tea, but very popular and not a flop. Do you know what I mean? I think Starfield was a success.
That might be enough to get it in there.
Yeah.
Especially because it's just like, wow, it wasn't a flop. Isn't that big news?
It's a weird thing with Starfield. I think it's one of those games where like 5 years from now you'll be hearing a lot about it, which is such a strange thing, but it's like Bethesda, how they treat Skyrim. Like the Skyrim is still on sale, the special edition is like still 50 quid because it sells somehow. But anyway, I think PlayStation has a huge market share of the Game of the Year nominations. I would say 2 out of 6. I wouldn't count Baldur's Gate 3, but that's just me.
No, you can't play it on any other console.
I wouldn't count Baldur's Gate 3, but it is definitely
nobody
the
would count Baldur's Gate 3 except Darren.
Yeah, man, for me, and it works a lot better on PC. So if you're even thinking of what's the best version of this game to play, I would definitely recommend PC, because
if you have a good enough,
as good a time I had with Baldur's Gate 3, like some of
the UI is
like the UI is terrible. How
unwieldy.
you interact with the left trigger and what the game tells you and stuff like that. It's all very messy.
And again, to kind of like play the neutral, or play the neutral corner, I guess, in all of this, it is kind of cool, the idea that Nintendo could have 2 Game of the Year contenders in the ring if Mario Wonders does go for Game of the Year, because I honestly
think it will get nominated, because people will just be so nostalgic for Super Mario
and it's
World
the perfect timing,
that regardless of how good it is, it's going to get a nomination because people are fucking
fools.
They're fools like that.
But as a guy who's played it, like, this is a money about a quarter of the way through with the lads, and I look at, like, for me, Final Fantasy 16 definitely has to be up there because it was probably the most enjoyable new game that I've played this year, for sure. Baldur's Gate 3 is an exceptional game, and I think it's better, but for the action pieces, and I was on the edge of my seat at some points in Final Fantasy 16 because some of it was so intense and like really like narratively driven. But having played Mario Wonders, I've gotten such a fun time out of the 25% that I've had in that. So for me,
and it's a 4-player couch co-op, which they're worth their weight in gold, especially with the kind of friends group we have. Like 4-player couch co-op games, we get so much more out that was even intended by the developers, because we can play that shit all the time. Whereas most people would struggle to even get it made over to play a co-op game or a multiplayer game. We have no problem. So like the couch co-ops, the Smash Brothers, the Mario Karts, the Super Mario Brothers Wonders, they're always going to have so much more value from our perspective.
So I think to kind of wrap this conversation up, I'll go first in terms of where I think, after listening to both your arguments, where I think I'm landing on who might have done 2023 the best. I do have a strong side in for PlayStation, of course, because I think with the exclusives that they've had and like how much fun I've had with my PlayStation this year, I think it's it's in a really, really good spot. Some of the things are the price increases and, like the Activision thing that they weren't able. I mean, I wanted them to stop it, but they couldn't, of course, whatever. So I think PlayStation has had a couple of L's this year as well. I'm kind of leaning towards, and I was even before I even did my research, Nintendo has had an insanely surprising year for me, considering it should be the death knell of the Switch. It's like it's going out fighting in a way I didn't anticipate. And Nintendo this year, there's a lot of remasters being released, but Nintendo hasn't had like a loss this year. Like they haven't released games that have been awful.
They haven't released anything that was bad. Like,
well, I mean, Fire Emblem Engage was probably, but people loved that, I guess. But for us, I would say true fans of Fire Emblem,
you're getting away with saying Hogwarts Legacy is a good game, so I can say Fire Emblem Engage is a good game because on the Metascore it probably has similar reviews to what you're saying. I just hate it because it's bad, and I know it's bad. But Hogwarts Legacy is also bad.
I appreciate your integrity, Craig.
So I think I'm leaning in a very close between first and second, PlayStation, Nintendo. But I will switch. I think Nintendo's probably had a better year than PlayStation this year. So I'm going to put Nintendo just pips it for me with PlayStation right on its heel, and then Microsoft. I think the future is exciting for Microsoft, but I don't believe they had a particularly good year with their email leaks and everything. I think they kind of had a bit of a bad image, and Phil Spencer having to come out and apologize for a lot of things. I don't know if it was Microsoft or Xbox's best year. Craig or Luke, you want to?
Yeah, I'll hop in. I think I think in the context of what's going on, I think Nintendo's had a great year. For me, it was just kind of Tears of the Kingdom. That was the main important thing for me. Not a big Pikmin guy, not a big whatever. None of those remasters really. Although the Paper Mario was a pretty sick game. I'd like to get the remaster.
Have you ever played it?
No, I've watched playthroughs of it and thought it was fantastic and full of whimsy.
The second level in particular, which is like a murder mystery in a wrestling studio, is absolutely incredible.
Actually, on that kind of note, did the Mario RPG remake come out?
That's also this year.
I don't know if it's I know it's been reviewed already and it's reviewing fantastically, so that is
I mean, that was a great game in 1995.
yeah, exactly.
So I mean, like, and it looks like they put a good bit into the visuals, but the gameplay is exactly the same.
Yeah.
So it's just playing like a Final Fantasy 6, you know? Like, it's for me, those type of games now, I can't pay €60 for them. You know, like,
is that what it costs?
Of course, it costs.
They're coming out full Nintendo price.
You're not going to get the €20 it should be. You're always going to get it as a full.
Half of my
Game
Pass subscription for the year on Mario Maker.
Yeah,
it's a great
Mario
game.
RPG.
It's Mario RPG. If you haven't played it, it is definitely really, really good, and we're playing just to see like that combination of Mario and Square. Like, it's fascinating how they would do that, because Mario still has to be able to jump. You know, I think that's like a must-have in any Mario game. Like, he has to be able to jump. So it's an RPG, but Mario can just jump on people's heads to get like a head start and stuff like that.
So, Luke, are you going to lean in to pick Microsoft as your winner of 2023, or have myself or Craig changed your mind on how you might lean in that?
No, I'm picking Microsoft as my winner for 2023. I just I'm trying to be open-minded to the Sony side of things as well. Like, I'm trying to imagine what would it be like if I did have a PlayStation, but we talked about it a bit, like the way that I play video games is so like Xbox Game Pass just perfectly suits that across my Xbox and across my PC. There's just like such an expansive there's too many games for me to get around to play them all, and whenever I do get to play them, there's always a game I'm really excited to be playing there at my fingertips. It's great. It's really lovely, and it leaves me also open to like lots of indie things that they do a great job of platforming, like Jusant that just came out the other day. Stuff like that is it just like makes me really excited to play, and it's so stupid. It's so like on brand for me. But one of the things I love doing on my Xbox when I turn it on is going to the Game Pass button and clicking it and seeing what's new this month. And I'm always surprised with something cool in there that I've wanted to play for ages, and I just now can. And that is just such a lovely experience. And I wouldn't get that on Sony, and I know I don't get that on Nintendo because I have a Switch, and I really love my Switch. And Tears of the Kingdom was wonderful, but not all-encompassing wonderful enough for me to be pulled all the way in the direction of Nintendo. I've just had too many wonderful experiences with all of my little Game Passy games that I just wouldn't get on other platforms. So for me, Microsoft takes it.
And Craig, what about you? Do have myself or Luke swayed you from Nintendo, or are you content with?
I think Sony, like, it's 2023 has been an amazing year for games, but when I think of those games, they're all Sony or Nintendo. Again, like there's not a single game in my back catalog. There's not one, you know. There's not a single game I haven't played that I want to play. Yeah. So that Games Pass would just be a bunch of nothing for me. Like, every single game, I'd just be like, yeah, I could give it a go, but like, I'm only playing it because it's there, not because I want to. I'm not excited. And for me, like, ever since I was like 7-8 years old, like the best part of the games is anticipation, is waiting for them to come out, is getting your magazine months in advance and looking at the new pictures of the games. Like that's almost better than the games themselves, like, so just saying, oh hey, here's a game, do you want to play it? Like, it might be good, but I'm not excited, because there hasn't been any build up, there hasn't been anything like that. And so for me, it's just all about the games. And Tears of the Kingdom took 6 years to come out, and then I got that build up of excitement, that type of thing. So no, any year you have a new Zelda, a new Mario, a new Fire Emblem, more Mario Kart, a Pikmin, a Kirby.
Pikmin? Are you really putting that into the
argument? I know, well, I could have just ended it with any year you have a Mario and Zelda in the same year is a very good year for Nintendo. Like 2017, when the Switch launched, was probably their best year, and it had both of those. And now 2023, 6 years later, has both of those. So I might have to wait another 6 years before I can say definitively that I think Nintendo have had the best year. But this year they have those ingredients. So for me, like, yes, it's been Nintendo's year. Nice. But only, again, they're the underdogs. So they don't have all those third parties. They just have what they've made themselves. But they are the best video game makers in the world. So, yeah.
Nice.
Going Nintendo this year.
Beautiful. So there it is on the Gifted Gaming Podcast. We have 1 vote to Microsoft and 2 votes to Nintendo. So I guess from our perspective, Nintendo takes the winner as the 2023. And it will be the last one probably for a while, as Craig said. We'll wait and see.
Doug Bowser can expect his trophy in the mail.
Yeah, from us. But listen, if you've enjoyed that and you want more content, you can check us out on thegiftedgaming.com or patreon.com/thegiftedgaming. We'll be doing an episode after this. We'll be continuing on our Battle Royale, our knockout stages, to see how things go down there. But listen, if you like what you've heard, tell your friends, sign up to the Patreon for the cost of a coffee a month. It's fantastic value. There's loads of stuff up there. And Craig, Luke, thank you so much for hopping on for this and giving your points and your views. And to our listeners, as always, keep enjoying the gift that is gaming. Peace out.